Welcome to your new SideQuest podcast with the intention of helping you through the game of life with mindful reframing and awareness as we all move through this journey called the human experience. It's time to level up. Hello everyone. Welcome to your new SideQuest. You mad, bro? Let's talk about it. Today in this episode, we're gonna discuss how we react or respond to conflict and emotional triggers. So Zach, let's talk about this recent situation we were currently involved in.
Yeah, currently, but also settling.
Resettled.
Yeah, resettled. We basically had some beef, not between us, but our pickleball group. Basically, without getting too much into detail, there was a disagreement among our group members about an internal conflict involving rules, respect, and behavior amongst other things. Eventually, it led to us resolving things, coming to a common ground, which led to a mutual understanding. So we were able to solve it on both ends. But what we want to focus today is in the moment of that conflict. How did we feel? How did we react?
In the moment of the heat of
The heat.
of being triggered. So overall, when we respond to stress, we have this reaction of fight or flight, right? Then there's
Actually, four.
four different responses. There are fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So first, fight, and the definition of that is confronting the threat head on with aggression or assertiveness. The second one, flight, means escaping the threat by physically or mentally distancing oneself.
The third one is freeze, which is shutting down or going numb in response to danger, like a deer in headlights. And the fourth one is fawn, which is attempting to appease the threat in order to avoid harm.
So, Zach, what would you say is your normal response to conflict?
I would say my gut reaction is actually a combination of like three of them, which is freeze, flight, and fawn. I am adverse to conflict. And let me tell you, whenever a stressful situation comes up, honestly, I wouldn't call myself a people pleaser, but I am a peacemaker. I don't like to feel uncomfortable in situations where I'm put on the spot or exposed. And it's kind of hard to remain level-headed because your brain automatically tries to protect you. So in this situation, at first I felt like kind of like I didn't want to go into it. I was leaning away from it. I didn't want to respond to messages, kept my answers short, and I just didn't really want to deal with it. There was a lot of back and forth between the members, and ultimately I was just like, I would rather just go on about my day and not even think about the problem itself. Like if I just close my eyes and go to sleep, it'll go away kind of thing. And that's an example of, I would say, flight, where you're escaping the problem. But then there's also freeze. So when you're in that situation, you shut down. You don't really want to do anything. And the last one is fawning. So fawning, for me, the reason why I do it is because I don't want to come off as a disagreeable person. And in order to have a healthy conflict, you need to have two different sides. So by fawning, it's kind of like I'm appeasing that person and not trying to hurt their feelings. Mm-hmm. But Derek, what would you how would you say your reaction was like in that situation?
Okay, this is kind of interesting in terms of this current situation that we've been through, because I've been through a lot of growth recently in these past few years, that my internal responses to things is evolving. Like currently it's shifting. So I would say my normal response, in the past would always be fawn. I would just make the other person happy just to keep the peace. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is in this situation, I just took a pause at first, and I was leaning towards fawning, but internally I had a conflict. I was like, no, fuck this. I want to stand up for what I believe in and what I did and own my decision.
Mhm.
So I would say, to be honest, I was actually kind of the trigger of what actually went down
Yeah.
because I made the action of what set this group on fire in this conflict.
Yeah.
But like for me, I was just sick of abandoning myself, like, and this was an opportunity to just stand my ground. So in this situation, I paused. I was gonna fawn, but I was like, no, I want to fight.
Mm.
And like I want to lean more towards like I want to fight for my self-respect.
Yeah. You wanted to fight for your self-respect more.
Yeah, and that was my decision that I made. And I wanted to just, you know, give myself that love, at least for this particular situation, because I've been through so much already. Like I'm so sick of people pleasing
Hmm.
that I want to be overall a better person for myself, not for others, just for myself. And what I wanted to stand up for what I at least, believed in that moment that was true to me.
Hmm.
It could have been wrong, yeah. Like I probably did make a quote unquote wrong move, but overall, me making that decision actually was the catalyst for the conflict to be resolved.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I think on a deeper level, you were trying to protect your values, your belief system, because it's yeah, like we've all kind of had an upbringing before where we didn't really defend ourselves, and now we're trying to change that, or at least avoid that from happening again. So in this case, instead of fawning, you went into sort of like a fight mode and tried to stand your ground, which is powerful. It's not something that a lot of people are comfortable with doing.
Yeah, honestly, it was really uncomfortable for me. Like it went totally against what felt familiar,
Mm.
but it all came down to just making the decision to do so. Cause man, it honestly did feel good. And what's cool about the situation is that like what unveiled to me throughout this conflict was that I had people supporting me, and it felt like I was being supported not only for the decision I made, but for my growth,
Hmm.
in that particular way where I was like, no, I will not self-abandon myself over
Yeah.
this.
I want to actually add more to that because um, coming from someone that typically is agreeable, that likes to fawn, it can be really hard to stand your ground because you just don't want to be that disagreeable person. But in this case, disagreeing with the status quo and actually sticking to your gut and what you believe in actually changed the group.
It really did. It transformed the group into like coming from more of like a place of understanding of what is, I guess, right to do, or the more correct approach in making decisions within the group
Mhm.
came to light. And yeah, the group evolved, and we got more, after that discussion that we had with the other group members who were in conflict with us, it I think we got closer in a way, right? To
Yeah. And that ultimately widened our understanding and perspectives of the situation because each side that was in conflict, we had our certain viewpoints, but once we talked it out with each other, we just kind of broadened our perspective more.
what's cool to have though is like within a group is just having the maturity to show up in like a calm manner more than like proving who's wrong and right.
Yeah. I especially liked during that time that we were talking, our language wasn't very, what's the word? It's like intrusive. Like oh, you did this, you did that.
Blaming, basically.
Blaming, yeah. We
Right.
didn't use blame language. We used more of like, I felt this way. It seems like, sounds like, looks like kind of thing. Not really targeting anybody, but it was very open and honest. And yeah,
It was all coming from a place of understanding, or of being open to understand the other side of what was happening, right?
right. That's what you need first when you enter into conflicts. It may not happen 100% of the time, but in an ideal situation, I think that's what will lead to a productive conversation.
Yeah, the whole point of resolving conflict is really to find that common ground and giving that space, giving each other space to express what they felt versus trying to be, just black and white, right or wrong.
Hmm.
So overall, what would you think the mindful reframing for conflict would be in overall situations of being in conflict with someone?
So every time you feel an emotional trigger or you enter into a conflict and you feel that stress, that nervous system in your body activating, remember to pause, acknowledge your emotions, and respond instead of react.
And hold that space for the other side, hold that space for the other party to just express what they feel. And overall, I think eventually you guys will get to a common understanding.
Yeah, it takes a lot of character to be able to hold space and to reverse engineer or rewire yourself from doing the things that you're naturally going to do, whether it's flight, freeze, fight, fawn. The main thing is to understand each other.
Yeah, so we'll just end it right here.
Thank you guys for listening. If you guys enjoyed this podcast episode, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify as well as Apple Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. As always, thank you all for listening. This is your new SideQuest podcast.
Side quest complete.